boards being made. They're being snapped like toothpicks, Pete. And also the people on the beach, some of them are getting wet. Matt Wilkinson and Aritz taking to the water right now. You don't want to miss all the action. It has been crazy since 8 o'clock this morning. 8:20 start. The Firefox post show will show you all the highlights, lowlights, wipeouts, snap boards, everything. It's going to be a great show.
As it should.
We just don't know when it's going to happen, though.
The proving grounds. This is it. Like Pipeline and the entire North Shore. You come here. Every surfer has to, every professional surfer has to come here and taste a little bit of the North Shore. It's just part of the deal. And of course, when you come here, some of them love it, some of them hate it.
And there's rumors flying around. Are we going to complete this heat? Are we going to round number 3? We are going until somebody pulls the plug, correct?
Well, there's the surf director and the commissioner, the ones that are looking at it. And of course, the surfers have their say. You know, as long as there's been waves, you know, that last one, you know, we were contemplating, is there any more rideable waves? And all of a sudden we saw Judson get that beautiful, you know, 9-point ride. So they're still out there. It's just tough to find them.
There is a frothy one to the inside, and I believe that could have been Dion Atkinson. I'm not sure. That was a tough one to take a look at. Julian Wilson and Dion Atkinson take to the priority situation. Julian's got 3 waves, and now we know he's got 4. As we take a look at Atkinson, for sure looking for a solid score. Julian's best wave, a 2.50. Pete, the wind is increasing up to 20 knots now.
Yeah, no, and it's supposed to get stronger, and it's already adding to the elements. You put another 5 knots of wind on this, and it's just going to make it that much more challenging. Tell you what, in this heat specifically, you've got Julian Wilson, and I'll tell you what, Ricardo Christie, the New Zealand surfer, is watching this one very, very closely. He is cheering on Julian Wilson. He wants to keep him in that top 22 spot so that he keeps his position up there in the ASP, you know, so he's a double qualifier, because if not, he takes a spot away, and Ricardo Christie becomes one guy out. So it's a critical heat. We're talking about qualification for the World Championship Tour. This is the last event of the season on the World Championship Tour, but it also is affecting the surfers sitting right there on the cut line. Ricardo Christie is the last surfer in who sits at number 10 on that ASP World Qualifying Series. So Ricardo, he has got his pom-poms out.
Think he's tuned in?
Oh, I'm sure. And Ricardo, is good surfing. You did everything you needed to do to find yourself in that spot. So congratulations on a job well done. Now it's all up to the guy in the water right there, Julian Wilson, to make sure that he stays in tide.
Well, Matt Wilkinson and Aritz Aranburu paddle out to the lineup, and from Copacabana, New South Wales, Australia, the 26-year-old, number 24 in the rankings, but number 8 in the QS, and Aritz Aranburu, number 26 in the rankings and number 62 in the QS. Aritz has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he sure does. You know, Aritz is one of those guys in exactly these types of waves. Hollowing, barreling lefts with lots of wind, grows up surfing Mendaka. You know, this doesn't quite have quite the same, you know, a bit different, but I'll tell you what, anytime there's any kind of unique kind of situation, Aritz is one of those guys that can adjust so quickly. He just knows how to read it. He knows what good waves look like, and he'll head out there and he'll find one. That's just what he does. Example, the other day, you know, challenging conditions, he found that 9.27, probably one of the best waves of the day.
Well, the Triple Crown of Surfing, and the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing has been around a long time, and they're going to award, what, $50,000 to the winner. Dusty Payne in the driver's seat right now. Michelle Perez hunting him down. Julian Wilson almost won it a couple of years ago, but he did not make it into the pipe because of various rules, but don't count him out as well. But Dusty Payne has a pretty exciting matchup in heat number 3, correct?
Yeah, no, for sure he does. You know, and he had a really interesting heat this morning. You know, he tied, and he won by 0.03, you know, 0.03 of a point to overtake Jordy Smith, who was injured. And so Dusty given a bit of a bless right there, because he's through. He's keeping that Triple Crown hopes alive. And
he should be up against Gabriel Medina, what I count. He's the lowest seed, correct, moving up?
That's right, he does have.
Oh, that's the case. Oh my. Jadson Andre does win with a 12.70. That's what you get when you get a great wave, a 9.37. People are calling for 10. Well, it doesn't matter. He got through the heat. Thiago on the other side, the flip side of the corner, 2.73, but he survived. You can take a look. Really anxious, excited crowd on the beach. Everybody is getting autographs and getting parts of boards, but the Brazilian contingent is here in full force.
Yes, they are, and they're doing pretty well, getting through heats. We saw Miguel Pupo. I mean, unfortunately, he was up against another fellow countryman in Heoni, so no matter what, one of the Brazilian folk are going to get through there. And then just this last heat, Jadson Andre putting on a great performance, finding that 9.37. Backed it up with only a 3.33, but it wasn't from a lack of trying. I'll tell you what, he almost made that wave. And if he had, he would have probably had one of the higher point totals of the round. Kelly Slater had an amazing performance earlier, so if we get into round 3, which it sounds like we may, we will see Kelly Slater once again.
And picking up the scraps, looks like Matt Wilkinson. What a character. Fifth Pipeline Masters comes into this event. Number 9 in the QS. What a great run. A dramatic run in the first 2 events of the Triple Crown.
Well, exactly that, and he needed to do it, right? So he could get himself into the qualification. And when he came into Hawaii, he was sitting outside of the cut line, both on the World Championship Tour as well as the World Qualifying Series. But his performances both at Haleiwa and Sunset Beach have him sitting at number 8 on the World Qualifying Series. So he's in for next year, no matter what. The question remains is if he does well here at Pipeline, he sits at number 24. And if he gets above that 22 mark on the World Championship Tour, he will obviously want to keep that seed, get up in that rankings, because that's going to help him going into the first event of the year, the Quicksilver Pro at Gold Coast.
You just saw in his first Pipe Masters, Dion Atkinson, the 28-year-old out of Seaford, South Australia, just south of Adelaide, and he took a wave with priority and just got beat. And all of a sudden, priority is going to change. Wilson's going to get back into the lineup and try to better his 2.0. Right now, let's go down to Ronnie Blakey on the beach with Jadson Andre.
Thank you, Dave. Jadson Andre, what a phenomenal finish to 2014. You've had big results on the World Championship Tour, have elevated you in a 20th position. Of course, that second place finish in France, and on your way to another solid result here with a huge score in that last heat.
Yeah, it's just like I spoke with my coach before the hit. He's like, yo, you're good now. You're good now, so just enjoy. Go out there. I know you love surf pipe. I know you love this kind of wave. So go out there and have fun. But at the same time, be smart. So I spoke with Kyoto just before our hit. He's like, are you nervous? I was like, yes, I'm nervous. Me too, because it's really dangerous out there. It's big, but just stoked to make it.
Well, you're in 5th position on the World Qualifying Series, so you've stitched up a place on the World Tour for next year. But a lot of surfers are anxiously watching you perform here, and I know Brett Simpson was very happy to see you get through that last heat.
Yeah, as I know, like I'm safe for the next year, as you guys said. But yeah, I'm really looking for a big result over here. I think if I win 3 more hits, I can make the top 60, and that's really nice. So I'm not really looking for like, I'm looking so ahead. I'm just gonna try to surf hit by hit, and that hit was pretty nice because I was kind of nervous. I was like, I just gonna go in the very first wave that I see, the very first one that I had the double up in the sand. That thing they call the scabbing, you know. I don't really know how to explain, but.
Well, I remember in France when we were watching that event unfold, every morning we'd rock up to the beach before the sun had come up. You'd be down there with your headphones on, getting ready for a surf, and you were still there in the afternoon. I've noticed since the Pipe Masters had started, you've been the first person down here, the first person out in the lineup, the last person to leave the beach each day. So if that trend's anything to go by, you'll be looking for a big finish here at Pipe. We wish you the best of luck in the next round, and just quickly show us this new butterfly tattoo you got. A little bit of damage there from the reef. Just a small memento. Congratulations, moving on through to the next round.
Thank you, Ame. Thank you. Yeah.
So a lot of pressure taken away when he moved up to number 5 in the QS rankings, but he's taken some scar tissue out there onto the reef. A 9.37 was a spectacular wave, his second wave. You saw that during that interview. Jadson Andre, always with a smile. One thing I like about him, and he mentioned that he's always on the beach from sun up to sundown. He's watching waves, he's mind surfing if he's not surfing, and he's listening to scores, seeing what is working in the lineup. You know, a lot of people, I'm going to go play golf this afternoon. He is watching and studying everything.
Well, and the thing is, he's not staying right here on the beach. You know, a lot of the sponsor houses are all here, but he's actually staying up at Rocky Point area. I believe he's been staying there for at least the beginning of the Triple Crown, unless he was able to move over here. But, you know, they do have the Oakley house, which is, you know, as a team member there. So he's got that house to hang out in. But I'm sure he shows up each and every morning bright and early, and they, you know, mix up a batch of coffee or some mate, whatever he's on, and gets out there at the crack. And again, I'm here at Pipe, and I wake up and shoot. You know, it's him and Mick Fanning, and even Gabriel too are out there on the earlies each and every morning.
Just learning as much as they can. Here we go to the inside, and will this be working for the priority? Julian Wilson. And Wilson looking at a closeout and exits, and he's doing something different. That standing island or trying to punch through the back doesn't work for a lot of times. The waves are so thick and powerful.
Well, I think that's actually, I mean, you see that technique being used a lot now by all of these guys. The first person I ever saw do it was actually Sean Barney Barron. You know, he got launched on some big waves, and I remember him doing the feet first dive, which, you know, usually everyone was doing head first dive, but you know, I'm sure there's other guys who did it before Barney, but that was the first person I saw do it. And you know what? It's just a technique that it's a pencil dive, and you can kind of sometimes it allows you to penetrate and get underneath and not get sucked over, because the waves are so powerful that a lot of times it'll actually suck you back over the falls, and you get extra pounded. And there's actually, look at, I can even see some of the photographers are taking it on the head, saying, yeah, they're all good. But everyone's paying dues. I was out there, and it is a lot of water moving. It's basically you're at the mercy of the sea.
Well, take a look. Some interested spectators. One to the left is a pretty good musician. One to the right is a pretty good surfer. And they are
Jack Johnson. You got John, you got Koa Rothman, you got
Pancho Sullivan.
Oh yeah, just the Peanut Gallery.
And Mom John, and everybody there watching the action here. Jack Johnson, boy, a big favorite here in his songs, and he surfed in the Pipeline Masters and Trials events as well. So not only a great musician, well, a phenomenal surfer.
Yeah, well, he grew up at Pipeline.
Yeah.
I mean, that's he has a house here. His family has a house, and they grew up surfing this wave. He surfed backdoor. I came every winter, and you know, good friends with Jack, and you know, obviously it was unique that he just was you know, playing the guitar just for fun, and next thing you know, he's a recording artist. It was nothing that he ever like planned to do. It just kind of fell on his lap. He's like, wow, cool, like people like my music. Next thing you know, he's
he didn't go to the Kahuku Performing Arts Center at all.
No,
he just did his own thing.
It was straight off the porch right here back door, and people realized, hey, you know what, this guy's got a great voice and he's a great songwriter, and sure enough, rest is history.
Dion Atkinson right now has two waves. They've been painful, a .67 and a .17. Right now he needs a 3.83. For Dion Atkinson, he does have priority, 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining. Julian Wilson, who has paid some horrific dues out here, but what an incredible talent. Number 21 in the rankings and number 3 in the QS. So he's sitting good, but Julian Wilson wants to win everything he's in. He's such a fierce competitor. Let's see how he plays this game with Atkinson right now.
Well, you look at what his season's been on the World Championship Tour. He finished third at Bell's, the Rip Curl Pro, and that's it. You know, it's been 13th string of them. Just he gets out of that first round, but cannot get out of that fourth round, and that's frustrating. It really is. And you know, each and every event, you know, Julian's touted as one of those guys that should be vying for world titles, and I think this year has just been you know, one of those challenging years for him. It just shows how talented this you know, top realm is. That anything could happen, and it could be a heat, it could be you know, just one little situation that could just turn the whole year around for him.
Julian was trying to bait Dion Atkinson into that wave. We want to keep me off it, you're going to have to take it. So Dion started paddling. Did he lose priority? No, but I saw Dion giving it a good look as well. So the priority judge holding off on that. 25 minutes remaining in the Wilkinson Aranburu heat, and Wilkinson with just a high score of a .73. What has happened so far, Pete?
Well, this is the recap of Julian. Great technique here. Look at that. That's that standard stand up, and then all of a sudden usually you'd be standing up in the barrel, but unfortunately that wave shuts down, so he does a pencil dive, but doesn't quite get the penetration and just gets engulfed. And you can see all of that water just cascading directly on top of him. And here's a great angle of it again. Great technique, all of that's great, but then he has to basically, oh, this is a different wave that he just gets stuffed too, like, you know, the corner with that north and sand. It just, you know, doesn't allow for a whole lot of exits. And he's been paying some dues in this heat, just one after another.
He is fearless, and he's not afraid to take off, look over the ledge, and commit.
Well, he's got himself the win right now with a 2.5 and a 2.0. So, you know, it's right now it's what he needs to do is get through this heat, and that's what he's doing.
What happened last year? It was Kelly Slater winning over John Florence. Mick Fanning equal third with Joel Parkinson. John won the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing. Mick Fanning claimed the title. Kind of the same scenario here. We got guys, the same faces are in the hunt for some big stuff, but I guarantee guys like Julian Wilson, Dion Atkinson, they would love to win this event, right? They're out of the, well, actually, Julian Wilson is number 3 in the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing rankings. He was second at the Reef Hawaiian Pro, picked up 20 grand, and now he's looking at a 13th up at Sunset, so he is looking for a solid result here. These guys, the feather in the cap would be winning the Billabong Pipe Masters. A lot of people focused on that world title, but everybody else would love to win. Let's go down to Ronnie Blakey, and Ronnie's got Tiago Pérez.
Thank you so much, Dave. Tiago, 34 years of age. This is your 8th year on the World Tour. You came into this contest in 28th position, chasing a huge result. How do you approach the next stage now that you're going to be trying to fight your way back onto the tour?
24, really?
Is that right?
I thought it was 20.
Surfing like a 20-year-old.
Thanks. You know, I'm just taking it day by day now. I'm still not sure what I'm doing next year. I'm not planning to retire yet, but I'm not planning to stay for a long time. But it's just that I still enjoying it really, surfing and competing. And the prime tour nowadays is way more appealing than the QS was back then when I was surfing. Way better contests, way better venues, and you know, I just want to mix it up a bit more next year. Maybe do some trips that I didn't really have time to do it before. Bit sad right now because I didn't want to surf the heat today. I think it was a little bit too wild, and the luck factor plays a big role today out there. And tried to stop it. Spoke to Kieran, but he was a bit lost out there, and now they're going to stop it for a bit. So it was a bit deceiving. A bit frustrated now. I took a big beating out there, but it's all good. It's part of the show.
Glad you're okay. As always, you know, there's a lot of fans over there in Portugal, throughout Europe and the rest of the world cheering you on. Best of luck on the World Qualifying Series next year.
Yeah, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the fans in Europe, Portugal, all over the world. Thanks a lot. You guys are really inspiring. Thank you.
Good on you, Tiago.
There we go. The Portuguese Tiger, Saka, 16 years as a pro, 7 years on the World Championship Tour. He's lost his spot, but he will be fighting back. We might see him in some of the ASP Big Wave World Tour events.
Well, hey, let's see if the interest is there, but I get you. He wants a piece of it. I mean, I know he's got the talent. I've yet to receive the phone call, but you know, there is that opportunity for him if he's thinking about it. We do like to see him surf a few venues first to make sure that he's into it.
Well, we've got a couple of World Championship Tour surfers that are on that invite list. Hobgood was one. Kelly Slater's one, right? There's some people that are
Josh Kerr.
Yep. Testing the water.
Those are the guys who basically have reached out. We sent an email to a lot of the guys saying, hey, and it's hard, it's tough, right? I mean, you're trying to focus on an entire season, let alone starting to throw some 6 more events on the Big Wave World Tour out there as an invite. They just can't commit, and that's the toughest thing. It's just it's too much time, too much to focus on. It's hard enough, trying to get there for each and every event with the right equipment, let alone traveling with a 9.6, because occasionally you could make a call and you've got to be there.
Well, we're closing down. It looks like Dion Atkinson's going to have to pay his dues in the future. The 28-year-old from South Australia. Well, Seaford, South Australia is needing a miracle in the closing seconds here, and he was looking for a 3.83. A tough go for Mr. Atkinson.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he had to tell you the truth, he surfed amazing all season long, and to see him not requalify is a bit of a heartbreak. I think that, it's just a tough one for him.
Well, when we come back, we're going to take a look. Front and center will be Matt Wilkinson and Aritz Aranburu. Stay with us.
It's how we keep our independence online, burning bright.
And welcome back. Take a look at these people. They are standing at water's edge, and as the surf continues to build, they will get wet. They'll lose their cell phones. They'll lose their backpacks. Hopefully no kids or dogs will go, but they're in a precarious position when the waves come through. Pete, Mel, what do you think? We've seen people swept away.
Not in a while. I've seen stuff swept away.
Oh,
I have yet to see
people going down the beach. Ask Ricky Gregg about that. Over the years, unbelievable. You can't turn your back to the water. Rabbit Kakai says always watch the water and the North Shore and those sweeper sets, especially coming from the west. As we take a look at front and center, I only see 2 guys out in the water, Pete.
It is only 2 guys in the water, but you know what? Let's see if we can get some action here.
Here we go, and our surfer. Now this is our surfer in white. That's Matt Wilkinson. White sleeves, blue. He's been pretty busy out there, but nothing over 1 point. And Aritz Aranburu getting on the board with a 1 and a 107, so he actually takes the lead with those minor scores. It's been a tough go for these guys.
It has. It's been a challenging day so far. You know, we talked about it from this very start, from the morning show Dawn Patrol. We've been talking about how challenging it was going to be. And it's just one of those things, you know, Pipeline's a challenge. It's the proving grounds. Make sure you make it happen.
Let's go down to Strider with the commissioner. Strider?
Yep, down here with Keenan Pro, ASB commissioner. Not a lot of great waves, a few this morning. A lot of low scores today. Waves are gigantic out there. What's going on?
Yeah, it's really ramped up in the last couple of hours. The swell started to fill. We've seen those sets kind of washing over first reef. Really challenging to get in the spot, even in between those sets. So guys are really struggling. The wind's kind of flicking around everywhere. So we're going to go on standby after this round. Make another call at 1 o'clock for a potential restart at 1:20. But you know what? Things are not looking great. The swell's building and continuing to build. So we just want to see if it settles down and actually averages out at this size and the wind goes back to more of a trade direction, it might improve. Right now it's challenging, and we don't want to send the guys out in round 3 in those conditions.
So overall, because of the scores, basically you got really low scores right now, and you want to basically have a better show and let these guys be able to actually compete instead of survive?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. It's exciting, and there's a lot of action out there, but guys are having to throw themselves over, you know, really huge over the falls, pulling into waves that are not makeable just to get a score, and we really don't want that. We want the guys to have the best opportunity in the heat, and right now that's just not what it is.
Well, there you go, going on hold. Next call, 1 o'clock.
Thank you very much. So we will complete round 2, heat number 12, with 16 minutes on the clock, and Julian Wilson looks like he is in one piece. Huge fan base for him, and we're going to get the official results, but it looks like he did take down Dion Atkinson, and Julian Wilson will move through. Well, Pete, Mel, with the wind even clocking around, that would help considerably, wouldn't it, if it came a little more east?
Yeah, and what'll happen if it did were to do that, you wouldn't see it coming off the ocean so much, so it would actually smooth the lineup up. You know, it'd come through some of the valleys here. It would slow it up too. It wouldn't be so strong, but you know, the odds of that happening are pretty slim. We may see moments where it'll do that. But, you know, the forecast says that it's going to be stronger and even into tomorrow. So I think that we're going to be seeing this trade wind pattern for a few days.
Now remember, this is the 44th annual Billabong Pipe Masters. With the other 43 being run, they have not finished in perfect, ideal conditions. We've had so much sand out here. It's been the off-the-wall Pipe Masters. And we've had an event actually held at Aokai. So it's a mixed bag, but you want to end on a high note on the final day, and we want to end with some really solid, safe surf for these guys to perform, especially in round number 3, which could determine a world title.
For sure, you know, and it's got to be contestable and fair. You got to take that luck factor out as much as you possibly can, and have it be around the skill. And it would ultimately, especially in those world title contender heats, you know, you don't want it to just be guys out there hucking each other. I mean, it would be exciting action, I think, but at the same time, guys can get hurt. You know, this is Pipeline, and it's by far one of the most dangerous waves in the world, and it's shallow. And when you've got conditions like that, you don't want to have any high-risk situations.
To clarify it, we will go on standby. Next call at 1 o'clock. We will complete this round 2, heat number 12. 14 minutes remaining, and let's see what they are going to do with this open lineup. Well, they're just going to have to play a little game cat and mouse. Now and then a wave comes through. It looks like it could be backdoor possible. We've got a goofy footer that's taken on a lot of the lefts here. Copacabana, New South Wales, Australia, Matt Wilkinson. breathing a sigh of relief after a good run in the Triple Crown, moving up to number 8 in the rankings. It's Aritz Aranburu, number 26 on the World Tour, number 62 in the QS, and into his 4th Pipe Masters. He is looking for a big result. He's another guy. In fact, I believe he was invited to the Big Wave World Tour just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and he had to decline. Obviously, focusing his attention here to Pipeline, wanting to re-qualify. This is the event that he could probably do it in if he were to get himself way up there in semi or final. I think that he could find his way into that 22 cut line. So he wanted to focus on that heavily. The Basque Country obviously is why he was invited to that event. He's also surfed in that in the past, that Big Wave World Tour event, and unfortunately he had to pass on it. But let's see what he can do here. This is a big heat for him. 13 minutes to go, and he's leading, but certainly not by much.
Zeraut Spain, the Basque Country, the 29-year-old. 3 years on the World Championship Tour. And you've got to realize that a lot of these guys make the Elite World Tour, but now and then they don't re-qualify, but they have to battle back and get on the tour again, and it takes some extra effort. Right now, let's check in with Ronnie Blakey and Julian Wilson.
Thank you, Dave. Julian Wilson, building some momentum in this contest. Jules, you've just had your best heat score total for the contest. It wasn't easy to beat, though.
Oh yeah, I had 1.2 in my first round. So yeah, it wasn't hard to beat, but I'm kind of laughing about that heat now, but it's really challenging out there. There was one wave that I was really close to coming out of, the 2.5 I think I got. And other than that, it's really hard to surf out there, and those big lumps coming across the face when you're trying to bottom turn into those lumps in the wind, you can't even see until you get to the bottom of the wave whether the wave's good or not. It's like you just grab onto the rail and hope for the best, and yeah, it's hard out there, and I don't know, I don't know if they're going straight into the next round, but yeah, it's really difficult.
I love the fact that you're able to adjust throughout the year. You changed your game plan. You thought, I'm going to back myself on the World Qualifying Series, a really late charge. Some of the most high-performance surfing we've ever seen at Haleiwa from you. You're obviously feeling very comfortable, but the ultimate goal must be to qualify through the World Tour now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I had to put in a bit of work. Kind of from trestles onwards, I was kind of hoping I wasn't going to have to back myself up on the QS. I was just kind of getting closer to the bubble, and as soon as I started to think that, the next thing I was landing in Sydney from Portugal and packing my bags and going to Brazil to try and back myself up on the QS. And I think everything happens for a reason. I got a good result there, had some good heats with some guys that I compete with on tour, and then took that momentum to Haleiwa and had one of the funner events I've had for sure. And then Sunset was a pretty good result, and even just to be in contention for the Triple Crown after the year I've been having is good, and now I'm here at Pipe, and I feel like I've done everything I could to make sure I stay on tour, because that's where I want to be the most, and I'm here and now I can enjoy it. And I mean, that heat wasn't very enjoyable, it was challenging, but I don't think it can get much harder out there than what those conditions were just then, so hopefully it'll be fun.
And I think when you look at the entire round and put it into context, that heat score total wasn't actually too bad. There's been some pretty low ones today.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got in the barrel however I could. There's a lot of waves that you can only just take off and it doesn't barrel, or you just take off, you can't get off the bottom because those big chatters in the face, and I just wanted to make sure I just grabbed the rail and got up under the lip, and one almost paid off, but it was still enough. Just, Dion had a couple of takeoffs and I had a couple of pull-ins, and that was the difference in the heat.
Just equipment-wise, we haven't really touched on equipment too much today, but a little bit of a bump in the swell overnight. Did you change boards from yesterday, and what are you riding now?
Yeah, there's a little bump in the swell. It's pretty massive out there right now. I'm on a 7.0, same as what I was riding last year. Obviously last year was a little bit, I don't know, around this size, a bit smaller, but super clean. But I don't think I could ride a bigger board with what room there is to get off the bottom. So I think it's just trying to find those little gems out there, the little bit smoother ones, and getting an exit. But yeah, happy to get through round 2. It's always hard. And yeah, Dion's had a tough year, and hat goes off to him. He's been, pushing hard and had some great heats. An amazing heat in France against Mick, and just, I don't know, he's got to keep working at it because he's right there. Well,
as you know, once that seed starts to drop a little, it's very hard when you're coming up against the world's best. Congratulations, moving on through to round 3, and we'll see if you'll be back out there later on today.
Thanks, Ronnie. Cheers.
Back to you, boys.
Thank you, Ronnie. Julian Wilson, one of the largest fan bases in all of surfing. The girls love him for obviously a great-looking guy, and the guys and girls love him for his surfing ability and his relentless attitude. He is one amazing individual, and he is number 3 in the rankings. One thing, he came so close to winning the Reef Hawaiian Pro. He started off with the big scores of a 907 and a 967, the first 2 waves of that final, and then sure enough, Dusty Payne came back with a 978 and 977, and it kind of took the air out of him but a little bit. But coming into this event, he's number 3 in the Triple Crown rankings, and still a smile on his face.
Well, he's finally turned the year around. I mean, like I said, he had a struggle this year. He's been one of those surfers that you would tout as being a world title contender. And, you know, he just started to kind of show a little bit of brilliance in the early stages of the year, getting a 3rd at the Rip Curl Pro at Bells. And then just, you know, just had rough, close, tight heats, and he just didn't get any love. And so to see him turn it around here at the Vans Triple Crown, has himself in contention. He talked about it. He touched on it. He's an amazing surfer. He's you know, he's going to be around for a long time. But it was good to see that he saw what was happening and made that adjustment. Went to the you know, Billabong Cascais Pro there. You know, he got a good result there. Went to Brazil. And then came into the Triple Crown, and he's solid. He's all the way up there, and he will qualify, or he has qualified. And then he, you know, ultimately he wants to qualify in the World Championship Tour, and that was a big heat to get through. This is his round that he's been having a bit of a struggle to come on in round 3. So hopefully he can get through that and you know, start putting some real points up there and keep himself up in that. You know, if he gets himself into that top 16, I mean, Jadson talked about being in that top 16, and what it is just it sets you up for success, because you're not going to be coming up against the likes of the top 5 super early in an event. If you can get yourself into that top, you know, 16, 14, 15 in that zone, again, you'll come into around 5s, or, you know, quarterfinals is where you'll start hitting those really hard guys. So you need that to start the year out so you can keep that seed. It's so important.
That's what seeding is all about. The number 1 and 2 seeds do not want to meet. If they meet, they're going to meet in the final. Take a look at these waves steamrolling through from the west. That's moving the sand through, but these guys are going to be cleaned up. And our surfers in blue, blue and black, and blue and white, Matt Wilkinson and Aritz Aranburu, trying to avoid the incoming freight train of wall of water here.
There's Larry Haynes getting around the corner. And I'll tell you what, when you look at it on the camera and you can see it, it looks smooth, but I'll tell you what, once you get out there and you start trying to paddle for these waves, it is nothing but. It is serious, serious wind, water. You can't see. That's what Julian was saying. You know, you can't even tell what the wave's going to be until you get down, and even then, it's a challenge. So, you know, going on standby as you watch one of our competitors getting swept.
I think it's Aritz in there, and maybe he snapped his board, and not necessarily he snapped it.
How quick was that?
That was unbelievable quick. And take a look at the wave right behind him, and the board comes right on them as well. Still has his leash on. I don't know if that's half a board or not, but
he's dragging it. He's dragging it. I'll tell you what, that is the best. Look at that, right on the beach, and just amazing work. I mean, that pickup, he did barely slow down, and that's why it's so good to have an operator as skilled as these Hawaiian Water Patrols are, and then the grabber off the back. You saw he went right by him, and he turns into him. The guy grabs onto him. There's a sled there that's made by Heavy Water, and you grab onto the sled, and the grabber grabs him. Boom, he's got himself a new board. He's going to paddle right back out. And with 5 minutes to go, you could see him get enough out there and maybe even get another wave.
Do you see Jamie O'Brien's sidekick Poopy there with the foamy board, the little...
Here, you want this one?
Yeah, you
just take this one out.
Now he's got a long run up the beach because you've got to actually start up river.
Watch
Here's
this
the pickup.
Yeah, this is amazing. Okay, so he sees he comes in, he's reading it, and he comes right at him.
Yeah,
and literally right there, it grabs onto him, whips him up. That was, you know, it's like a pit stop, and then he's got the half a board dragging behind.
Watch the board come just about on them here.
And just amazing work there by that Water Patrol. Look at it, leaning back, getting that water through the pump, just skating on. Hold on, folks, hold on.
Oh, spectacular camera work, and the Hawaiian Water Patrol are laying it on the line today.
You know,
Terry Ahui and team are doing spectacular job. That was amazing. He's trying to get back in the lineup with 4 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. And guess what? He is in the lead right now.
I've got the golf clap going. That was amazing stuff there. You can learn a lot from watching those guys do their work, and you feel a heck of a lot safer, tell you what, with a jersey on in conditions like that when you have them sitting in the water watching you.
Well, we hear that a lot at Waimea when you have such great people in support to save you. That I asked Mark Healy one time, why are you going left? He goes, I got the best in the world to save my butt.
Yeah, that's true. It's absolutely true. And, you know, it adds to the show, right? I mean, if you never know what's going to happen, but with you have these guys here, it is the best in the business.
Wilkinson looking for a 1.55 with 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining. He drops in looking for the cover-up barrel. It's a crumbler. There's a little section. Nice, clean to the inside. He exits.
So
safely.
what did he need? A 1.5?
Yeah, I mean, the
That's
judges have to work at that. We're not seeing, really, the highest score so far is a 2.17 for Aritz Aranburu.
Yeah, no, I think that's a 1.5. I mean, he dropped in, he got a little cover up, he completed the ride. We're right at the last minute here, 3 minutes, sorry. And still lots of waves coming in, and wow. So again, for everyone watching online, we are going to go on standby until, what did they say, 1 o'clock?
Next call will be 1 o'clock, possible 1:20 start, and that would be the next round of competition. And again, overlapping heats and world title scenarios on the line. And I believe,
just trying to look at what we have local time here. So it's 12:37. I mean, it's really 20 minutes. I think they're going to try and get a digest of what all the competitors want. I mean, reality is this swell here is peaking this afternoon. It'll start to back off through tomorrow. Winds are still going to be strong, and as we go through the rest of the week, these trades kick in heavily. We've got one mini bump towards the end of the waiting period, but that's really it. I mean, once we get into after the 20th, there's a big swell behind it, but it's after the waiting period. So then we go into Christmas, and so this is kind of it. So their backs against the wall. In regards to trying to find, typical pipeline, we could surf in 3 to 4 foot waves, but we wouldn't want that. We want to see them challenging each other.
going to come back at 1:15 Hawaiian Aleutian Standard Time. Hawaiian time 1:15 with an update that'll be live humans, but the call possibly could be made at 1 o'clock for possible 1:20. So we are on standby, and right now looking for the score of 2-4-3. Matt Wilkinson takes the lead. Aritz Aranburu with a dynamic rescue with the Hawaiian Water Patrol snaps his board. He needs a 1.97. Well, 1:30 remaining, and is he just making it into the lineup?
Yeah, no, he's making a run here, and he could.
Look at him paddle.
No, he's that's Wilco.
He is far down the beach.
Yeah, he's not going to bet out, but Aritz is getting himself into the zone here. He's going to get himself an opportunity. He's going to need a score, right? A 2.43 for Wilco. So now Aritz needing a 1.97. And look at all of that work. The Hawaiian Water Patrol is going to save his butt. He's going to actually find his way into this wave maybe.
Take a look at this. Minor score needed. 58 seconds on the clock, and the drama. He pulls out. So we're looking at the interval being possibly for this main swell 18 seconds. He's got enough for maybe 1 or 2 more. Now this looks like an odd little double up, but it looks pretty clean.
Well, here we go. He's going to do it, Dave.
Now or never for Aritz Aranburu out of the Basque Country of Spain, and he takes one on the head, just subs his board.
Wow. Well, Wilco finds the last little moment at the end of that heat. Somehow Aritz worked so hard to get out there, and you know what? He worked so hard. He probably paddled as hard as he possibly could, that I feel like at that point in time he was fatigued. I mean, there was so much energy exuded just to get to the lineup in time, and unfortunately he wasn't able to pull that drop.
Yeah, our computer's saying 10 seconds on the clock. We are it's completed. It's wrapped up right now, and the Hawaiian Water Patrol checks on him and then moves out. That was one of just the dramas that have been taking place since the first heat this morning. It has been a challenge, Pete.
Yeah, it has, and Aritz is so frustrated. He's just realizing at this point that his World Championship tour has come to a close for this year, and he's going to have to fight it back out on the World Qualifying Series.
Well, Pete, what does standby mean? It means we're not calling it for the day, are we? We are just going to be on hold. And what does Kieran Perot want? What do the surfers want? Can the wind help the conditions? The surf's getting bigger.
Yeah, no, I think that what he was more or less talking about when we talked to him was that he wanted the swell to kind of settle in and not have just these wash through sets on a constant basis. I mean, the wind is still as strong as it's been since it kicked in, and just looking out there in the horizon now, we've got 5, 6, 7 waves and with wash through sets. So we'll see what's going to happen here, but at this point I think that we're going to wait it out.
Well, the drama is far from over with. We're going to take a quick break when we come back.